Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, I have an amazing guest. He's somebody I've seen live on stage. I've seen him speaking at virtual events and also part of an amazing group that I'm part of. And every time I see him, he has this great smile. He's very, very energetic, always adds value to people. And that's why I just couldn't wait to have him on my show. He has 26 plus years of experience in the medical technology industry, healthcare commercialization industry. He's a medical technology senior executive director, and he just loves helping businesses grow and scale and increase their revenues, market share, profitability, all that great stuff. Anywhere from startups to Fortune 500 companies, and he's just done an amazing job, so much so that he's an award-winning guy in that area as well. So please welcome National Sales Director, a sales management leader, and an international sales integration expert, Mr. Craig T. Ingram.
Hey, Fong, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for being here.
I love your podcast, and I'm super thankful to be here.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to ask you a few questions and get to know you a little bit more, because every time I see you, you just have this great energy with you. And once you speak, everybody listens, everybody's involved and very engaged. So it's always great to speak to people like you. So first off, how did you get to where you are today, and why medical technology, healthcare industry?
Wow. So there's a lot packed in that question, right? So when I was in high school, my dad ended up getting stage 3 esophageal cancer. They didn't catch it until it was stage 3. And I got to be part of a situation where I got to see some family members bring in different types of technology as experimental opportunities for my dad, because a very well-known healthcare institution in the United States basically threw up their hands and said, we don't know what to do with them. And it's too far along to do any type of esophagectomy or any type of procedure that we could cut out that cancer. And so we had tons of different equipment being shipped in from Europe and Asia, the Middle East, and the opportunity to see just different types of medical technology work and experiment and see if it could even help my dad is really how I got the bug to be in the medical technology, healthcare, and commercialization industry. And I started in college when I was 19 years old, a medical distribution company. I was a sophomore in college. I was going to school full time. I was working part-time, and I literally went to manufacturers and just basically begged them to allow me to sell their product at 100% commission. And so I would show up to school in a suit, just like this, do school for 2 or 3, do a class for 2 or 3 hours, and then go out and knock on doors and start selling to physician offices and hospitals and surgery centers and all the different patient treatment outlets out there. And so to make a long story short, that's how I got in to the medical technology and commercialization side of healthcare products.
Mm-hmm. So at a very early age, you're one of those fortunate people who goes, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. to be quite frank with you, yeah, it was medical technology. I've never done pharmaceutical sales personally. I've consulted with people in the pharmaceutical industry. I've helped them put commercialization plans together, sales plans together. I've worked with some pharma reps who have struggled trying to get physicians to write their product for them and things like that. And so sales effectiveness is my passion, I guess, because it just comes easy to me. And it's really probably the only reason it comes easy is because I've immersed myself into sharpening the blade of my craft. Sure, I make mistakes, sometimes we all drop balls, in a situation, and we just got to pick up that ball and keep running toward the end zone to the goal.
Mm-hmm. Now, for somebody who at an early age begged another company to sell their product, obviously you've had a lot of passion in that product, a lot of belief in that product. And I'm assuming you've carried that forward for all the way up to now, where you wouldn't represent a product or sell a product until you absolutely believe in that. So when it comes to that, what has to go through your filter before you go, you know what, this is something I want to represent or push?
Wow, that's a really good question. I have never been asked that question in 26 years. Seriously, I really haven't. Here's my filter. It cannot be a Me Too product. It cannot just be a little bit better mousetrap. It has to have a clinical disruptive result, or it has to bring the same result of the current standard of care in whatever sector or section of our industry it is, but it has to be at a lower price so that the hospitals can actually save money. And then I can come in at an economic value if it makes sense, or if something is more expensive because it's a new technology and it's disruptive and it's new, then the clinical outcome has to outweigh the price. Mm-hmm. Because I am not involved. I don't get involved in price wars. I don't sell on price. I sell on the value of what the product or service is bringing to that potential customer. And I say potential customer is, in my industry, everybody calls somebody who is a potential customer or a potential client or a current customer, they just call them customers. And that's not the case. Unless somebody's bought from you, they are not a customer. And so the filter that you just heard that I use, I look at that very, very strategically. I look at that very carefully. And if I'm talking to a board of directors or a CEO or a VP of sales or a chief technology officer or something like that, I do ask a lot of questions. But what's interesting is I want them to talk more than I do, because I want to get a feel if they're being straight up or if they're bringing me some type of corporate nonsense response, right? I don't look for politically correct answers. I don't look for what's the popular answer. I look for absolute, no nonsense, accurate truth.
Awesome. So when it comes to that separates you from other, like from your competition and other people in that area. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the people you talk to, like the companies that you're helping with these new products, what are you seeing that's the common reason why these companies are either not doing well or not willing to integrate the technology or the products into their company?
There's a multiple facet of reasons, but I would say it comes down to really two or three. The first thing is they just don't know how to do what they're doing. They just don't know how to do it. Or if they do know how to do it, they don't look at what they can do better, faster, more efficient. Maybe, a company's been struggling for 4 years with a certain product, trying to infiltrate hospitals and integrated delivery networks, what they call IDNs, which is multiple hospitals that make up a large conglomerate health system. And they've just been having trouble getting their product in. And they've been doing it the same way for 3, 4, 5 years, and they're banging their head against the wall. And what I find is that if these executives and middle management people are not coachable on doing something different than what they've been doing, they're going to keep hitting their head on the wall. They're going to keep running into that brick wall. And recently, I've seen that where, they've been trying to do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not working. They're losing business. They're losing evaluations. They're not getting the buy-in because the offer isn't as compelling as it could be, because they're trying to do it the same way they've been doing it, and they're trying to do it the same way that they did it at a different company at a different era within our industry over the last 10 to 15, maybe even 20 years. And so not understanding where to go, not understanding how to do it, not understanding what can be more effective in their processes. And those are really the three things that they run into. Mm-hmm. When they call me or when I call them and I start conversing with them, I'm not here to talk them into hiring me to help them. Yeah. Although I want them to, because it's going to benefit them. I want them to hire me because they see a value of 26 years of struggle, of trial, of small successes, of medium successes, and very large successes.
Wow, that's something that lots of people need to remember, because you have to really build those relationships, really have to ask those questions, and be willing to open up to new things, or else you're never going to grow.
100%. And I don't see that as often as I like in the medical technology, biotechnology, and pharmaceutical sector of our healthcare commercialization industry.
Now, you've been in this industry for so long, you've been in sales for so long. What would you say are some of the most common stereotypical comments that people say that, oh, you're just this, or, oh, that's just this, that you could debunk right now so that people go, okay, this is what the truth is?
So the first thing that I hear so often is, well, you don't have experience in this widget, or you don't have experience with this subspecialty of physicians. And I just shake my head and go, it doesn't matter what the widget is. It doesn't matter what the service you're providing is. When you're selling a product or service into hospitals, into physician offices, into endoscopy centers, into any patient treatment facility, rehab centers, skilled nursing facilities. I mean, I could go on and on. Having experience in a certain widget does not equal results. If you remember at Mega Success, when I was on stage, I talked about the 7 pillars of challenge in hiring. The first thing I said was, stop hiring backgrounds. Oh, well, this person has experience in spine, so they must be phenomenal at spine, or they're going to, just because they have some relationships, they're just going to help us out. I have seen people, including myself, not have experience in a certain widget or specialty platform, and either as a sales rep, middle sales manager, executive leader as a national sales director or chief experience officer, I have made literally millions of dollars over my career studying that product, studying the target market, studying the strategy, studying the tactical execution of that strategy. And that's another thing. People talk about strategy all the time. Strategy is critical, but knowing how to tactically execute that strategy is as equally important. And I find people get strategy and tactics mixed up all the time. And I know sometimes I can probably even come across like, how do you not know this? Right? Because of body language or something like that. And I never want to put someone down. Everybody's learning all the time, right? Nobody knows everything. But strategy and tactical execution are two different things. And I tell you, 8 out of 10 times I talk to somebody about tactics and strategy, they mix them up.
Wow. So yeah, that's very, very important, because if you get those things mixed up, you might make different decisions that does not get you to where you want to be. And
100%.
That's very, very important.
You're exactly right.
Now, over the last 26 years that you've been in this, what was one product that completely blown you away, that you going, what, you know what, this is going to change the world? And then what is, if you're allowed to share, something that's coming up in the future that you know about that's going to completely change the whole game?
Okay, so that's a 2-part question. So I will tell you the product that has impressed me the most from a new, disruptive, emerging technology is a product that was used for radial artery harvesting that a few otolaryngologists, ear, nose, and throat surgeons saw as an opportunity to try for tonsillectomy. And it is called the ENT septs. And when I was working for a company out of Massachusetts, they had this product and they were struggling with some of the other products. And I decided to take a risk. I got permission from the CEO and the general manager of the company. And I said, I don't want to focus on this laparoscopic product we're selling, because I only see that as a moderate way for us to build revenue. However, I would like to take the handful of otolaryngologists, the ear, nose, and throat surgeons, and I'd like to develop them in a speaker circuit around the United States. And I'd like to go on a road show in my region. I had 10 states. No, sorry, I had 13 states. And I would like to start training and educating these surgeons to use this new forceps called the ENT seps for tonsillectomy. No scabbing, no heavy bleeders that would happen. And every once in a while you get a bleeder and you have to fix it in a certain way. But people that were having this product used for their tonsillectomies were recovering in half the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so impressed. My son at the time, who was 4 years old, I had the doctor use that product on him, and he had his tonsillectomy. He had his tonsillectomy at like 9:30 in the morning. I believe it was on a Tuesday. He ate scrambled eggs for dinner that same night.
Wow.
That never happens. It never happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it took an extra 3 to 4, maybe even 6 minutes to do the procedure compared to the other products that were a little, quote unquote, faster. But when the patients have a better outcome experience, as a businessman or a businesswoman, as a physician, your referrals are just going to increase substantially, because people are going to go around and say, Dr. So-and-so had tonsillectomy and, or did a tonsillectomy, and my son or daughter was able to eat scrambled eggs the same night. Mm-hmm. Right? Some kids don't want to eat for like literally 4 days. Wow. And they, even on medication, pain medication, they still don't want to eat and drink. And that's one of the biggest problems. So that product has stood out to me and has really never taken off, because the commercialization strategy was not well designed and not well executed. And I was in a role back then that I did not have the opportunity to put that strategic commercialization plan and sales plan together, because I was just a regional sales director. I didn't have the title. But I will tell you, that product is still to this day one of the most impressive products for patient outcomes, period, in my tenure. Mm-hmm. The second part to that question of what I see coming out in the future is really 3D printing of medical devices.
Oh, wow.
So they would measure, let's just say it's a spine situation, right? And there needs to be a new disc, or there needs to be a vertebroplasty adjustment, and they need a filler, or they need some type of height or width support structure. I could see them literally 3D printing the product right there in the operating room and inserting that product right in the patient during that exact surgery. I absolutely see that. Robotic surgery is actually coming up. I'm still not fully convinced that robotic surgery has a faster procedure. And I'm not so sure that patients have a quote unquote faster recovery. However, it is easier, and you can do things as a surgeon with these robots that allow them to maneuver the tissue and do the surgery. Like, for example, you can rotate an arm 560 degrees on a robot, right? Where you can't do that with your physical arm, right? And so there's maneuvers that these robots do. And so I definitely would like to get involved in robotics, the future of robotics here. Besides the one company that's been out for the last 20 years, I'd like to do something with some of these up and coming developing robots, or even in the neurospine when it comes to 3D printing and other technologies like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking even beyond the OR, right? I've been in the OR for many, many years. I've sold into the OR. I've managed sales reps into the OR. I've also managed sales reps getting involved in physician office-based products and services as well. Also, digital health. Digital health is going to be huge in the future. And I've done some consulting, and I've worked with some digital health companies as well. And so I've got a very broad experience working with multiple different platforms
Mhm.
within the med tech, biotech, and pharmaceutical healthcare industry.
That is absolutely fascinating, especially when people can just print stuff and get that inserted into that body and it works and functions all good, right?
I see that in the future very soon, actually.
I'm pretty sure I saw that in a movie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the FDA and, there's going to have to be a lot of regulatory things around that, to make sure that things are done well and no shortcuts are taken, because as humans, we all try to take the shortcut, right? But we've got to have policies and procedures in place to prevent that from happening, because it is people's lives. Right?
Yeah. No, people have so much more access to information, especially with internet. And now with social media, people chiming in on certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, the last few years here, it's been so divided. People read one article and they're so agreeing with that one article and they push it so hard. And then this other person, well, I've read all this stuff, but these people still don't listen. How have you seen that social media, internet, all that kind of stuff been affecting the medical area, and also how you can do your job more effectively?
There's really good things in our industry, and there's really frustrating and annoying things in our industry, just like every other industry, right? There's conflicting information. Somebody, like you said, somebody will put some content out that says one thing, and somebody also put content out that's another. What is unfortunate, I think, in the business world is everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. Not in a great way. But the people who do things the right way, the overwhelming majority of the time, are going to attract the quality people. And I'm not looking for quantity of people, right? I've got people that don't like me because I'm straightforward. I don't mince words, right? If I don't know something, I'll just say, I don't know. That can make people angry, especially if they assume that I'm supposed to know something in 4 months that I've had very little exposure to, right? Craig, give me the details of this specific hospital to the granular level. Well, I've been there once. I don't really have that much info to give you right now. Just give me until a couple months. I can come back with you with a lot more information. Let me keep doing some investigating. Peel those layers off the onion, right? So I think, unfortunately, there's an arrogance in our industry, in the med tech healthcare industry, that is unfortunate, right? We put unrealistic expectations on people. We put constraints on people because, well, why did they get to do that and I didn't? And I don't have time for that. I really don't. And when people work with me, they're going to see an authenticness. They're going to see a realness. They're going to see a rawness, right? There's some things I'm not polished on. And I'm okay with that. Other people might not be okay with that. But what you're going to get is the real deal, right? And I do think that we have a lot of quality people in this industry. And those are the people that I want to team up with relationships. Those are the people I watch. I don't listen to what people say. I watch what they do. And guess what? When they make a mistake, I give them some slack. I give them some grace, right? Because not everybody is going to perfectly dribble the ball all the time. And I think when you give grace, you receive grace, right? You cut people slack, you get some slack cut to you, right? But when you know that that what you bring to the table brings real, authentic results, and not so much focused on the nonsense that corporate America and companies focus on. If companies focused more on the results and not so much on some of the nonsense that they're trying to make it bigger than it is to get those results, guess what? People and companies would make more money, they would learn more information, and they would become more than just an expert. They become an authority. And so I've been very, very fortunate where I've had some literal billionaires and 9-figure entrepreneurs see value in what I bring. And that brings a humbleness to me, because I'm like, I can't believe I'm actually in the circle of some of these people that see value in me. And that's great for your confidence, but it also is humbling. It makes you go, gosh, maybe I do know something, and that's okay to admit that. You know what I mean? So anyway, I hope I answered that question effectively.
Yeah, very well done. For yourself, when it comes to sales, you're an expert in sales. You help lots of people grow their sales, grow their revenues. Some people go, sales is just sales. You just go and talk about something. But you've broken it down to so many different aspects, from process to direction to target to even sales talent. So if you were to take all that and kind of sum it up into like a couple of minutes here, what would you say is the epitome of sales?
Well, the first thing I tell people is stop showing and telling. Showing and telling is not selling. My daughter and son show and tell, and they're in elementary school, right? Or we're in elementary school. I've been on field rides just in the last few months with people, and I just watch how they sell. I watch how they approach the potential customer. I watch how they approach the receptionist to get the 3 to 6 minutes to see the physician. I watch how they approach the vice president of supply chain or the chief medical officer of a hospital, right? And I find that they don't practice selling. They don't practice what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and why they're doing it. A lot of people don't know what to do, how to do, why they're doing it, and how to do it more effectively. I just see that so often. It's super disappointing because I look at myself and I spend so much money on my own development every year. You know, some people may say it's too much. I don't think it's humanly possible to spend too much in sharpening your craft. And so the first thing I tell reps is stop showing and telling. Then I talk to them about how to introduce yourself and your product in a succinct, fast, quick way that will get you to the potential decision maker, to get in a meeting or an appointment with a potential decision maker as soon as possible, right? Then once you get that meeting, what do you say? How do you say it? What are you observing of that potential customer, right, in their body language? Are they right brain? Are they left brain? Well, that depends. You need to know that and assess that in the first couple seconds, so that you know how to sell to them more effectively. And then it's about demonstrating the product. Then it's about validating the product or service that you're selling. And then it's about asking for the business, right? When it comes to leadership of companies attracting the most effective salespeople, most companies are doing it all wrong. And they wonder why that only roughly 10% of their sales force is meeting quota. Mm-hmm. It's because you're hiring background. You're not hiring skill set. You're not looking at people's results. You're not looking at what they're doing. You know, I interview people completely different than the overwhelming vast majority of my colleagues, whether I'm looking for a manager to manage under me, or whether I'm looking as a manager, first line manager, hiring sales professionals. I do it completely different than traditional corporate America, because I find traditional corporate America is inefficient and ineffective many times. Not all, and I have nothing against corporate America because I've been in it for 26 years, right? I have. But at the same time, we can do things more effective. We can do things more efficient, and we need to do things that are outside of the normal realm of what's been done in the past. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You have this amazing energy with you. When you talk about things that you're passionate about, it really sticks to people. So, so tell me, what is your secret to turning on that switch of, okay, I need that energy now. I'm on stage, here I am, and then maintaining that positive mindset, that energy, that engagement.
I'm an intense guy. I just am. I can't help it. I don't apologize for it, right? I don't change for people because they want me to fit in some, box or circle. What you see is what you get, right? I 100% of the time put people's needs before mine, right? And have I been stabbed in the back multiple times because of that? Yeah, I have. But it doesn't squash the energy. It doesn't squash the passion that I have of wanting people to succeed and giving them real life applicable tools that they can put into practice 20 seconds after they get done talking to me. If the person on the other end of the phone or the other end of the desk or across from me, even though we're talking now, if I can't give you something that you can apply in the next 20 seconds when we're done talking, I've failed, not them. Where they fail is if they choose not to take those tools and use them.
Right.
But if I haven't given them those tools, then I fail. And I have failed sometimes, and I have failed many times. And guess what? It eats me alive. It disappoints me. I just disappointed somebody yesterday. It's been eating me alive for the last 14 hours.
Wow.
But guess what? I go make it right. Right? Because I don't like to disappoint. But every person disappoints somebody every week in some way, shape, or form. Right? The difference is, do we go and we make the effort to make it right? That's the way it needs to be done. I just don't see that enough. I don't see that mindset enough. I wish I did, but I just don't see it.
Well, now that you mentioned that you failed many, many times and you've made it right many, many times, is there a scenario that you can share where it really bugged you for a long time? It doesn't have to be the recent one, of course, that you went back and changed it and therefore you've become a lot better because of it.
Oh, gosh.
Pick one. Just
right? Let me get my
one.
laundry list, right? I mean, I'm 47 years old, right? I've been in this industry 26 years. I've got a laundry list. Gosh, I'm just trying to think. I was in a meeting once and I was going through different accounts. And this other person thought that I should have just been able to reel off all the details of all these different hospitals just off the tip of my tongue. I take a lot of notes. I have a lot of bullet points, especially when I'm in board meetings, executive meetings. And I'm always referencing the notes because there's always so much going on. And there is pressure, right? There's pressure on you to make sure that you deliver the message. Well, I didn't deliver the message as well as I should have. And instead of making the notes based upon the accounts, I made the notes based upon the representative. And then I had all the different hospitals that they were focused on and trying to get their product in that. Well, what I should have done is have that based on alphabetically on the hospitals, right? Or the target focus of each hospital and just put who the rep was on the side. So I was fumbling through some papers and stuff. And the CEO was like, Craig, what are you doing here? He's like, you're more buttoned up than this. You're like fumbling through a bunch of papers. And I was like, yeah, you know what? But I'm going to get you that right information, And so afterwards, I went up to him and said, listen, I know it looked a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit like I was a disheveled mess. And I really wasn't, because I wanted to get you the content and the accuracy of the information meant more to me on how I looked. Right. And that's a thing that I've noticed as well, is that sometimes we're so worried about the appearance instead of the content, that the content becomes the secondary when it really should be the primary. But I went and made it right. Because the next time I went in, guess what?
You're prepared.
I was well, and I was prepared before. The difference is I had it organized in a different way, because this person was more worried and concerned about the appearance versus the content. And I figured that out after that first meeting. So guess what? What I did is I had a different organizational structure in how I presented. And I presented the content the same way. It just looked a little bit more organized because of how I had it in my notes, right? So I think there was a shared responsibility on both. I think he had different expectations that were of me, and I had different expectations. I think he was more concerned about how I was appearing and how I was coming across, and I was more concerned about the content, right? But guess what? It was on me. So guess what? I fixed it.
And you've become a lot better because of it, and you keep on growing. And for somebody
100%.
as successful as you are, and you've already helped lots of people, you're coaching a lot of people in the sales realm as well. You yourself are still being coached and mentored and growing. So what is one of those things that you yourself has heard from your coaches, your mentors, that still to this day is changing your life?
It's all about mindset. You know, I wake up in the morning sometimes and it just feels like I'm just defeated.
Mhm.
And so I've got to change that mindset, right? It's great being in a circle of ultra successful, financially successful business people that actually invest into you. Yeah, you're paying them a fee, you know, for their time and all that stuff. But sometimes you pay them for a half an hour and they give you an hour and a half, right? That's happened a lot with me. And I'm just like, wow, right? And having mentors like and coaches like JT Fox or Billionaire Fred or Hugh Hilton or, you know, different people within their circle as well. It's so humbling that they would actually take the time to be with somebody that you know what I make in a year, they make probably in about 17 minutes, right? And you know, but yet they still care and go, I remember when I was at your level, and your level is still successful compared to the rest of the business world, right? But Craig, we're so impressed that you never stop getting coached. You never stop learning. You admit when you make a mistake. You don't make excuses. You might have a reason, and you might have some outside factors that played into it. But at the end of the day, you take ownership. And I think that's because of that. That's why they're willing to keep investing in me and developing my mindset. And then that mindset changes into actions that result in business outcomes that are favorable.
Awesome. Now, when you notice that your mindset is wavering off, okay, what do you do instantly as a disruption to that?
So I do two things. I usually just get really quiet. And what I personally do is just literally pray and ask God to change my heart, to change my mindset, and to take over those negative thoughts. I literally do that. Then the second thing I do is just within literally maybe 30 to 45 seconds is I choose to go do something, whether it's read something, listen to something, and just literally maybe spend 30, 60, 90, you know, maybe seconds or so and get something to take over what's going on in my mind, that defeatedness. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to Reggie Batts the other day, and he was like, Craig, I woke up the other day just so defeated. I had all this negativity coming into my brain, you know, and I was like, that still happens to you?
I'm like, what? Is this the same? Is this the same Reggie Reno?
Yeah, I'm like, that happens to you? He goes, of course it happens to me. I was like, I didn't think that would ever happen to somebody like you. He's like, Craig, I'm just as human as you are, you know? And you see these ultra successful, financially successful business people that still have the same struggles as I do. That's what's encouraging as well.
Awesome. We're putting you back on the world stage, and you get a few minutes here to tell everybody one message. And when it's that one message that you want everybody to remember Craig T for?
Oh, gosh. I want people to remember me for the realness, the authenticity, the no nonsense business person I am. I want people to know that I put other people first, not in what I say, but in what I do. When people choose to work with me or people choose to include me in their circle, I'm looking for people that have an authentic integrity that's off the charts. Those are the people I want to work with. People are going to get somebody that's going to roll up their sleeves, and work immensely for them so that they can get the outcomes that they would like to see. I can't guarantee any outcomes, but what I can guarantee is they're going to have the right processes, strategy, and tactical execution, implementation that will result in an ROI that is far beyond what they pay me to give them the roadmap.
Awesome. Everybody, remember that. Before I let you go and change the world, I have a few quick questions for you to give me and give me the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh gosh.
Right?
Okay.
So you're stranded on a desert island. You get one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. What would that be?
Steak.
Hollywood calls and go, Craig T, we really want to do a biopic on you. Who would you cast to play you?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise goes, yes, I got the job. I'm going to be playing you. He shows up at your door and goes, hey, let's hang out. I want to know more about you. And you go, you know what, Tom, why don't you come in? I'm going to serve you dinner. What's that special dish that you can prepare?
Gosh, that's a really good question. Probably smoked brisket.
Ah, that sounds awesome. A special talent that you don't tell many people.
I started drumming at 4 years old, and I have been on multiple tours as a drummer with different bands when I was younger, in my teens and 20s.
Gotta dig up some of those videos and post them online.
I had really long hair back then too, versus this.
Awesome. You're on a car ride and you are driving long distance, and there's one song that's stuck in that radio, that stereo, whatever it is, that is gonna play over and over and over again. What's that one song that you don't mind listening to for a long time, over and over?
Oh, it's a song by Christian Stanfill. Oh, I can't remember the song.
You can sing it.
The words are something like, I got rescued out of that grave, or I rose out of that grave, or something. It's really cool. It's really fully inspiring and full of inspiration. And it really talks about people coming out of the depths of the challenges of their life. And I just love it. Awesome. I could listen to that song over and over and over again because I always feel awesome.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now, give me a number from 1 to 4.
3.
1, 2, 3. So how is success similar to the moon?
Real, genuine success is hard to get. You can't do your best. You got to do whatever it takes. That means working at night. That means working on weekends. That means sacrificing maybe one of your kids' recitals or sporting events or something like that. I don't like to do any of that, but I do it. You know, some people say that, you know, somebody might be a workaholic like that, but it's not being a workaholic. It's doing what's necessary to achieve the goal and the results that you promise somebody. And when you fulfill your promises, the achievement will ultimately come. But the moon is so far out that you have to shoot for the stars so that you land on the moon.
Nice way of bringing it all back. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. That is how success is like the moon. Final thoughts, anything that you want to share?
Gosh, this was just a really encouraging chat with you. I appreciate it so much. You know, one of the things is that I remind people is that not everybody's going to like you. That's okay. But what everybody, if they're going to be honest, you want everybody to say is that person is full of integrity. They're fully authentic. You're always going to get the real person, and they're never going to put on some nonsense show for you to make you think there's somebody they're not. And it almost brings tears to my eyes when you have people that are so ultra successful say that about you. Mm-hmm. It literally almost stuns you. And I've been so fortunate to have these ultra successful business tycoons say that about me. And I hope to do more business, not only with them, but also with people that don't know me. And I would just say, put me to the test. Allow me to work with you to help your business get to the moon.
Nicely done. And therefore, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Best way to reach out to me is through Instagram at craig.t.ingram. You can get with me as well at my email at medsurgeconsulting@gmail.com. That's medsurgeconsulting@gmail.com. And you can also reach me on TikTok as Craig T, since everybody knows me as Craig T.
Well,
but you know what? I'll even give my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my cell phone's 551-697-7320, you know, here in Texas. So awesome. 551-697-7320.
Well, thank you very much. It was a blast talking to you and getting to know you, and thank you for your time. So thank you very much.
Yes, this was really fun, Fong. I really appreciate it, and much success to you as well. And let me know how I can help you if I can as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. For everybody else, he is Craig T. Make sure you find him on social media, connect with him. I'm an awesome guy. And my name is Fong. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll all see you later.